Okay, let's keep going. So next one, let's talk about autism. Autism is it's a serious mental disease. Usually the parents identified, and they were identified pretty early. Like we talk about development. So the human children, they depend on their parents, and they will form a strong bonding with their parents, with their primary caretaker. And if they find their baby just treat them like rock, they totally ignore them, ignore the eye contact, they found something is wrong. So usually they've been identified pretty early age. And these are the symptoms: impaired social relationship, they have communication, limited communication. And a lot of autism patients, they lose their language skill. And they have those stereotyped behavior, like they will keep doing the same things. So the autism is pretty serious. And the other one is called the autism spectrum disorder, and that is more of them, like Asperger's syndrome is part of them, and that one is less serious. They have the symptoms, but they are less serious. And we do try to find the animal model, because if you want to test some medicine, you always want to find a good animal model. Like we have the animal model of depression, animal model of anxiety, and they try to find the animal model of autism. So the scientists do find some transgenic mice, this kind of mice, and they have some autism symptoms. They will put a digital camera, record their behavior. And they find this kind of mice, they tend to be decreased social interaction. They want to stay in their corner and by themselves. So they use this to study. But so far, this kind of research is still developing. What's the risk factor for autism? We believe it's genetic. But again, multi-gene. So every time we talk about multi-gene, it becomes very complicated. It's very difficult to treat a multi-gene disease, because it's not you shut down that gene and you are cured. It's multi-gene. It's every time it's a pattern, and it becomes very complicated. Depression, schizophrenia, autism, those mental diseases that are multi-gene. And they found older fathers are more likely have children with autism, and this is correlation. It doesn't mean it's causation. It's always correlation. So that's why in the beginning of this class, I emphasize the difference between correlation and causation. You cannot cause a cause effect in a correlational study. So they find old fathers do have a higher chance have kids with autism. But there's some, about 10 years ago, we have some parents, they don't let their kids receive vaccine, because they think the vaccine can cause autism, and they blame some vaccine have mercury inside, and turn out the study show no, the mercury is too small amount, and there's no evidence the vaccine can cause it. So you should have your kids receive vaccine, because the risk is too high. If you don't give them vaccine, they can die of that kind of disease, not autism. Okay, then in the end, let's look at how to treat treatments. Psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis, we have talked about Sigmund Freud. So even though in this whole semester I make fun of him, but actually Sigmund Freud is a pretty great psychologist. He talked about psychotherapy, and his theory is your emotion and your memory, a lot of them being suppressed, and your brain try to protect you. So they put those painful memory into those like box and put them into your subconsciousness. It's like you throw those painful stuff into a box and throw that box into your garage. You don't see it, but it's still there. It's still in your house. And psychoanalysis is through talk. It gradually brings your unconscious thoughts. And once you release those emotions, you feel better. You feel better. And this psychoanalysis. And to do psychoanalysis, you really need to talk to those professional therapist. So if you go to talk to they claim they're therapists, or you do some online activity, they are free or they are very cheap, usually it won't work, because the training of psychoanalysis, it takes a long time to train and very competitive. We do have psychology major graduate student that go into the psychoanalysis field and take a long, especially super long time of training and super competitive. So after they got their license, they can do the psychotherapy. They have to charge you. They have to charge you because they pay too much. So if you find those free or those therapists, they just have go through some classes, have a license, or they don't have a license, usually it won't work because it requires pretty serious training in this field. So how effective? Still, it depends on people. So some people say it's effective, others say they don't. And sometimes the therapist, do you find a good match? The therapist really match you. That work as well. And people, if they don't believe it, they will start to argue, say, this is why it's not working. So they do have some reason to argue. First one is spontaneous remission. Like you get sick, okay, your body you have the immune system, you're going to gradually recover even though you don't take any medicine. The same for the mental disease. Like you have pretty serious depression, pretty serious mental disease, and you're going to have spontaneous remission. You're going to recover a little bit. And if you go through psychotherapy due to this time, and it's easily you feel better because of your therapy, but it's actually your body recovered. And that's how they claim. And we do have psychologists. They believe psychotherapy is not real. So he pretend he has mental disease because he know the disease so well. So he pretend he has schizophrenia. He went to the hospital and he lived with the patients, and he lived there for a few months. And during those few months, he gradually recovered. And because he knows schizophrenia so well, so he can pretend he gradually recovered. And after he recovered, he get out of those hospital, and then he wrote an article and criticized the psychotherapy is not real. Yeah, we do have people go to those kind of extreme. But in general, it works for some people. And the other therapy, we have the behavior therapy. So this one focuses on the behavior part. Focus on the behavior part, say you have the OCD. Every weekend you have to go to the mall and spend $500, and every time after that you regret it. So the behavior therapy, they focus on the behavior. And they will take your credit card out, then give you only $100. So this weekend when you go to the mall, you only have $100. Well, you can maximally spend $100. And the girls will say, what I can buy with $100? A pair of shoes only, right? But it works because you only have $100. So your behavior, you can only spend maximum $100, not $500. So it turns out it works. And that's the behavior therapy. It works on the behavior part. Do you feel happy? Well, that's a different story, right? So that's the behavior therapy. And this is the other therapy, the cognitive, the focus on the thoughts. And rational emotion therapy, it focuses on the your emotion. We talked about the emotion in previous chapter. So they think because that's how you, that's your thought decide your feeling. And when we change your thought, you change your feeling. Like some meditation therapy, right? It all happens in your brain. So when you change your thought, your emotion will change, and it works for some people. Okay, that's it. This will be our last lecture, and it's very nice to have you. Hope you enjoy this lecture. Bye.